Have you ever wondered what states are? In the USA, states are not just administrative units, like provinces in other countries. Each state has its own unique culture, nature, traditions, and laws. They are not merely geographical divisions. States have their own rights, including the ability to enact laws that apply only within their boundaries. There are a total of 50 states, each with its own identity and distinctive features. For example, California is famous for its technological advancements, while Texas is known for its passion for independence and unique culture. The last state to join the USA was Hawaii in 1959, when it officially became part of America. Cleopatra. Closer to us than to the pyramids. Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, lived closer in time to us than to the construction of the pyramids. Her reign ended in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around 2600 BC. It's mind-blowing to think that Cleopatra is closer in time to the modern world than to those ancient wonders she could have seen in her Egypt. This is a vivid reminder of how history can challenge our perception of time. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Did you know that crocodiles can digest metal objects? A crocodile's stomach is a powerhouse of digestion. It produces one of the strongest acids in the animal kingdom, capable of breaking down bones and even metal. This trait is especially handy when crocodiles swallow stones to regulate their weight or accidentally ingest metal objects like fishing hooks or nails. This incredible digestive power ensures that they can thrive in the wild by consuming almost anything that comes their way. So if a crocodile accidentally swallows something metal, it has no problem making a meal out of it. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50 yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, and it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. Can you imagine that the highest temperature in the USA was recorded in California's Death Valley at 56 degrees? It's one of the hottest and driest regions on the planet, where living conditions are extremely harsh. In contrast, the lowest temperature in the USA was recorded in Alaska at -60. These temperature extremes illustrate the incredible climate diversity in the country, from the scorching heat of deserts to the deadly cold of the northern latitudes. Who would have thought that the wombat is a true architect of nature? Imagine this. The small, furry wombat living in Australian forests is not just cute, but unique in a very peculiar way. It's the only animal on the planet that leaves cube-shaped droppings. Yes, you heard that right. Perfect little cubes. These unusual blocks don't just roll down hills. Wombats strategically place them to mark their territory. The cubic shape helps prevent them from rolling, which is especially useful in hilly areas. Scientists have long wondered how wombats manage to produce such regular shapes. The secret lies in the unique structure of their intestines, which compress the waste into perfect cubes. Nature never ceases to amaze, and wombats with their cube droppings are a shining example of how fascinating her creations can be. One spaghetti noodle is called spaghetto. Spaghetti is one of the world's most popular dishes, but did you know that if you have just one noodle, it's called a spaghetto? This quirky grammar twist adds a touch of loneliness to an otherwise delicious meal. So if you ever find yourself dining alone on a single strand of spaghetti, don't feel bad. You're just following proper Italian grammar rules. Italian grammar makes food not only delicious, but also a little more poetic. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. How about this? Dubai has an artificial archipelago in the shape of a world map. The world is an artificial archipelago consisting of 300 islands designed to mimic the outlines of all continents. Each island is intended for private homes or hotels, and owners can choose their country. This project reflects Dubai's ambition, creating incredible landmarks out of sand and water, making them iconic attractions in the region. How would you react if you found out that Las Vegas is the brightest place on Earth, visible even from space? This city has become the unofficial capital of gambling and casinos. Interestingly, the legalization of casino operations in Nevada was aimed at boosting the state budget, which needed funds for building schools. As a result, Las Vegas has transformed into a true cultural phenomenon, with its bright lights symbolizing not only the city, but also the entire American dream associated with risk-taking and entertainment. Why do cat whiskers really resemble antennas? Whiskers, technically called vibrissae, are far more than decorative features on a cat's face. These thick, stiff hairs are deeply embedded in nerve-rich follicles, making them ultra-sensitive to touch, airflow, and vibration. Found not only on the muzzle but also above the eyes, on the jaw, and even on the paws, whiskers help cats navigate tight spaces, hunt in darkness, and judge distances before leaping. They detect air currents around objects, giving cats a kind of sixth sense that lets them see with touch. When stalking prey, whiskers track the slightest movements, helping cats pinpoint the exact location of a target. During a jump, they act like gyroscopic sensors, helping with last-second mid-air corrections. In essence, whiskers are natural motion detectors and navigation tools, biological radar systems that turn every cat into a precision-controlled predator. Did you know that one of the most recognizable symbols of the United States, the Statue of Liberty, was a gift from France? The statue, installed in 1886, was presented as a token of friendship to strengthen the ties between the two countries. Interestingly, its architect was Gustave Eiffel, who later became famous for constructing the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The statue embodies not only freedom and democracy, but also the American dream, as it marked America's emergence as a global symbol for those seeking a better life. Notably, every anniversary of its installation is celebrated in France. Did you know that in the USA there is a monument known as the Four Corners, located at the intersection of 4 states: Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona? This unique geographical location is one of the most unusual in the world. Thousands of tourists flock here to take photos at the point where 4 states meet. This monument is not just a point on the map. It's a symbol of how geography can create unique, almost magical places on Earth that become cultural and historical landmarks. Moreover, it draws the attention of researchers and geographers from around the world, serving not only as a tourist attraction, but also as a subject of scientific study. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Imagine for a moment, frogs can freeze but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze but don't die. Their bodies produce a special anti-freeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. Did you know that the world's first film was shown in 1894 in New York City? This was made possible by Thomas Edison's invention of the kinetoscope, a device developed to display moving images. The kinetoscope allowed viewers to watch short films individually. A year later, in 1895, the second film in the world was screened, establishing New York as the birthplace of cinematography and quickly making the city a cultural capital for many creative fields. Notably, these early steps in filmmaking anticipated the future of the film industry, marking an important milestone in global culture. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat on a 6-day journey from South Africa. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Did you know that lobsters live a long time, but they're not immortal? Contrary to popular belief, lobsters are not biologically immortal, but they do possess a fascinating secret, an enzyme called telomerase that helps repair their cells. This enzyme allows lobsters to keep reproducing DNA and regenerating cells, which contributes to their seemingly endless longevity. This remarkable ability has given rise to the myth of the immortal lobster. However, while lobsters can live for decades, they still eventually age. It's a fascinating glimpse into nature's strategies for longevity. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Did you know there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way? Imagine this. There are about 3 trillion trees on Earth, while the Milky Way contains an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars. This means there are more trees on our planet than stars in our galaxy. This surprising fact highlights the abundance of life on Earth. Every time you walk through a forest or see a tree in your yard, remember how vital these giants are for sustaining life, providing oxygen, and regulating the climate. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Who would have thought that Al Capone's business card was anything but gangster? Did you know that the business card of America's most famous gangster, Al Capone, stated that he was a furniture salesman? This is an intriguing detail from the life of one of the most ruthless criminals of the 20th century. Capone rose to fame in the 1920s due to his criminal empire, yet he concealed his activities in official documents by claiming to run a completely legitimate business. This fact is striking as gangsters often use legal fronts to hide their criminal operations. Why is Louisiana really considered the most dangerous state in the USA? Louisiana, located in the southern part of the country, is considered the most dangerous state in the US in terms of murder rates. This state suffers from a high level of violence, making it one of the most crime-ridden in the nation. In contrast, New Hampshire, situated in the northeastern US, is the safest state with minimal crime rates. The stark difference between these states highlights the significant disparities in crime across various regions of the US, largely influenced by social and economic factors. The world's shiniest fruit. Meet the African palea. Believe it or not, the shiniest living organism on Earth is not a gemstone or an exotic animal, but the African fruit Palea condensata. This vibrant blue fruit with an iridescent sheen has a unique ability to reflect light. Its outer surface reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Scientists are studying this phenomenon to better understand how such a structure can be created in nature. This fruit has become a true mystery for botanists because its glow is caused by microscopic cell structures that reflect light like diamonds. No wonder it's considered one of the shiniest things on Earth. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Believe it or not, cuttlefish change not only color, but also skin texture. The cuttlefish, a cousin of the octopus and squid, is a living billboard of biological illusion. With astonishing speed, it can shift its skin through millions of color combinations using 3 types of pigment cells: chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores, layered in dynamic harmony. But it goes further. Muscular papillae under the skin allow it to raise bumps, spikes, or wrinkles, mimicking the texture of coral, sand, or seaweed. This allows the cuttlefish to not only blend visually into its surroundings, but also physically disappear into the landscape. What's more, cuttlefish make these transformations based on sight and memory. They study the environment and decide the best disguise, revealing learning and problem-solving abilities. This shape-shifting skill is both defense and offense, allowing them to hide from predators or sneak up on prey without ever being noticed. Did you know that American strength lies not only in its economy, but also in its geography? Imagine the United States as a country whose geography is perfectly suited for global dominance. Unlike many nations that must fight for every square inch of land, Americans can control 2 oceans due to their unique position. This makes the U.S. invulnerable to invasions and allows dominance in global trade. How have they leveraged this advantage? The U.S. has used its geography to establish strategically important maritime routes and exploit them to its benefit. For instance, by utilizing the seaway across two oceans, they control a significant portion of world trade. Could sloths really swim like fish? While sloths are known for their slow, tree-bound lives, their aquatic skills might surprise you. Despite their sluggish movement on land, sloths become graceful and capable swimmers in water. Using long arms and powerful forelimbs, they perform an effortless breaststroke, reaching speeds of up to 3 meters per minute. Their buoyant bodies, helped by slow metabolism and a layer of fat, allow them to float and move across rivers and flooded rainforest floors with minimal effort. They can even hold their breath underwater for 40 seconds, diving to avoid predators or cross swamps. Young sloths learn to swim just weeks after birth, showing how vital this skill is to survival. For these treetop residents, swimming isn't just an escape route. It's an essential part of navigating the lush, water-laced jungles of Central and South America. Why could ancient Romans drink poisoned wine without fearing for their lives? In ancient Rome, people believed that mixing wine with honey and certain herbs would turn it into an antidote. This drink, called Mithridatium, was so popular that everyone, from peasants to emperors, drank it. It was said to protect against all kinds of poisons, and legend has it that King Mithridates VI took it daily to become immune to poisons. Many Romans believed it worked. When someone tried to poison him, he survived. So for ancient Romans, a night with poisoned wine wasn't that scary. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery: the world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Believe it or not, the United States managed to connect two oceans. Have you ever thought about how the U.S. managed to connect two oceans and control a critical global trade route? In fact, at the beginning of the 20th century, they waged war against Spain to acquire strategically important territories and construct the Panama Canal. This canal is not just a vital transportation artery, it is also a means of ensuring military and trade power across both oceans. The canal became a key element in U.S. national security and opened up opportunities for trade and military control in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Did you know that the Panama Canal served not only commercial but also military purposes for the United States? Why did the U.S. need to build the Panama Canal in the early 20th century? The answer is simple. It was key to their strategic dominance over two oceans. Although Panama was part of Colombia, it provided the ideal location for constructing a canal that could connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. The U.S. resolved this issue by supporting Panama's independence, securing a significant advantage in global trade and military control. The Panama Canal became a crucial element of American foreign policy and national security, enabling rapid deployment of troops and goods between the two oceans. Did you know the world's longest beard measured over 5 meters? The world's longest beard belonged to Hans Langseth, a Norwegian who passed away in 1927. His beard measured an incredible 5.33 meters, or over 17 feet. His legendary beard was so impressive that it was showcased at fairs and exhibitions. After Hans's death, his beard was donated to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains on display. This epic beard has become a symbol of beard greatness and is admired by many. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. How would you react if you found out that the U.S. had made Cuba its ally? In 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Soviet Union attempted to place missiles in Cuba, which posed a threat of World War III. However, the U.S. used its naval power to blockade the island and prevent the missile deployment. This crisis was one of the most tense moments of the Cold War, but it also demonstrated how the U.S., through its military might, could influence international politics and prevent threats near its borders. Despite its socialist orientation, Cuba became an important strategic asset for the U.S. at that time. Isn't it interesting that hedgehogs can swim? These little spiky creatures don't seem built for water, but they are surprisingly good swimmers. Hedgehogs can not only swim, but also hold their breath underwater. They puff up like little rafts and can cross rivers and lakes if necessary. Although they don't often need to, the ability to swim helps them survive in the wild, proving that even the smallest creatures can be great adventurers. Sometimes it seems unbelievable, but the cheetah is nature's built-in racing car. From 0 to 97 km/h in just 3 seconds, cheetahs are the ultimate sprinters. Every part of their anatomy is built for speed. A lightweight frame, ultra-flexible spine that acts like a coiled spring, long limbs with powerful muscles, and semi-retractable claws for traction. Enlarged nostrils, lungs, and adrenal systems ensure maximum oxygen delivery during the chase. But this speed comes at a cost. Cheetahs can only sustain full sprints for about 20-30 seconds before their muscles overheat. That brief window is usually all they need to catch a gazelle with pinpoint turning agility, aided by a long tail that acts as a rudder. After the chase, they pant heavily and rest for up to an hour. Built like a race car with the reflexes of a gymnast, the cheetah is evolution's tribute to high-performance hunting. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Believe it or not, the immortal jellyfish cheats death. The tiny jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii has baffled scientists with its near-magical ability to reverse its own aging. After reaching adulthood, it can revert its cells to a juvenile state and start life anew, effectively cycling between maturity and youth indefinitely, unless it's eaten or otherwise fatally injured. This process, known as transdifferentiation, allows specialized cells to become stem-like and then respecialize, rebuilding the body from the inside out. It's not just a parlor trick of the sea, it's a biological mystery with implications for regenerative medicine and the science of longevity. The jellyfish's cycle of immortality reveals the astounding potential of cellular flexibility and reminds us that nature has already cracked secrets that science is only beginning to understand. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Why do some old clocks have one number written incorrectly? If you have ever looked closely at the dials of old clocks, you may have noticed that the Roman numeral for 4 is often written as 3 instead of the standard Ivor. The reason for this lies in historical traditions. Roman craftsmen believed that 3 looked more symmetrical on the clock face and was easier to recognize by the eye. This rule has carried over from ancient times to modern antique clocks, preserving its incorrect beauty. The origins of the word nurse date back to ancient times. The word nurse has its roots in Latin, where it originally meant to breastfeed. Over time, this word expanded its meaning to include those who care for the sick and help them recover. Today, when we call someone a nurse, we acknowledge their vital role in providing comfort and assistance. Nurses continue to embody the spirit of care, from their ancient origins in nurturing to their modern roles in the healing process. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt? And what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, "No camel kissing," and it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. Did you know there are about 4,000 satellites flying above you? Currently, over 4,000 active satellites are orbiting Earth, performing various tasks. They provide GPS signals, weather data, telecommunications, and even climate monitoring. But that's not all. Each year, more satellites are launched into orbit, raising serious concerns about space debris, which could threaten future space missions. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? Who would have thought that clouds can weigh millions of tons? Despite their light and airy appearance, clouds actually have massive weight. 1 cubic meter of cloud contains about half a gram of water. Considering that a typical cumulus cloud can have a volume of over 1 billion cubic meters, its mass can reach 500,000 tons. That's about the same as 400,000 cars. Imagine tons of water floating above you. Believe it or not, the most popular name in the UK is Mohammed. Just like around the world, it ranks first among male names in the UK. Among the most popular female names are Lily, Sophia, Olivia, Amelia, and Ava. Additionally, over 30,000 men in England share the name John Smith. The UK is also home to many notable figures, such as James Ratcliffe, the richest man in the country, and Denise Coates, the richest woman, who runs the largest online casino. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey, measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams. These miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. How would you react if you learned that it was Tim Berners-Lee who invented the World Wide Web? What if you found out that Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, was the one who created it? This is not just a change in technology, it's a revolution that radically transformed how we communicate and access information. In 1989, while working at CERN, Berners-Lee proposed a hypertext system that would link information through documents. This became the foundation for the World Wide Web, and since then, the internet has evolved, providing access to millions of websites and changing society. In the UK, there are many other scientists, such as Charles Darwin, Stephen Hawking, and Isaac Newton, whose discoveries and research laid the groundwork for modern sciences and technologies. What remarkable feature does Queen Elizabeth II have in her long career? Queen Elizabeth II is the longest reigning monarch in world history, having served on the British throne for 70 years. During her reign, the country has undergone numerous historical changes, and the Queen herself has become a symbol of stability for the nation. Over the years of her reign, the United Kingdom has experienced many political, social, and economic shifts, but her dedication to duty and unique ability to remain at the center of the country's political life have been key aspects of her leadership. The inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA. Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. Why does an entire sea freeze in Canada? In Hudson Bay, winter temperatures can drop so low that the sea completely freezes, turning it into a giant ice desert. The ice here is so thick that even vehicles can travel across it. In winter, locals use it as a road, creating temporary routes directly on the sea's surface. This icy highway becomes vital for those living in the remote areas of northern Canada. Kiwi, the bird that can't fly but rules New Zealand. The kiwi bird is not just a national symbol of New Zealand, it's a true star. Despite having wings, the kiwi can't fly, but that doesn't stop it from being an icon of its country. These small birds are known for their unique appearance and habits. They are nocturnal and use their keen sense of smell to find food. The kiwi is so important to New Zealand that the locals call themselves Kiwi. This proves that even the smallest and most unusual bird can become the symbol of an entire nation. Did you know that money originated in the Stone Age? The history of money begins in the Stone Age when people exchanged goods through barter. However, this system was inconvenient, as it was difficult to find someone who wanted to trade their goods specifically for yours. In response to this limitation, people began to seek universal items for exchange, and the first such items were livestock, cattle, pigs, and sheep. Later, people started using more portable forms of money, such as rare types of shells. Can you imagine thousands of redheads parading through one city? In Tilburg, Netherlands, something magical happens each year. Over 20,000 natural redheads from more than 80 countries gather for Redhead Days. What began as a photography project grew into a global celebration of genetic rarity, identity, and pride. With parades, group portraits, storytelling, art workshops, and music, it's a sea of copper, auburn, and strawberry blonde like nowhere else on Earth. Attendees exchange tips on hair care, sun protection, and dealing with stereotypes. But this isn't just about hair, it's about connection. Redheads make up less than 2% of the global population, and here they find community and confidence. The festival proves that diversity deserves more than tolerance. It deserves joyful, unapologetic celebration. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Why did paper money originate in China? Paper money appeared in ancient China in the 8th century. Initially, it consisted of banknotes certifying the storage of a certain amount of money in coins or gold ingots. This innovation was driven by the need to simplify trade and accelerate financial transactions. In Europe, paper money emerged only several centuries later. Who would have thought every bird is a dinosaur? It's hard to believe, but that sparrow on your windowsill is a living descendant of the mighty dinosaurs. Paleontologists now confirm that modern birds evolved from small theropod dinosaurs, the same group that includes the ferocious Tyrannosaurus rex. Fossils like Archaeopteryx, which lived 150 million years ago, show a creature with feathers, wings, and a wishbone, classic bird traits, but also claws and teeth. Genetic studies reveal that chickens still carry dormant dinosaur DNA. Even feathers preserved in amber give us dazzling, colorful snapshots of prehistoric life. Birds retained what dinosaurs couldn't: lightweight bones, fast metabolism, and flight. So next time you hear a bird sing, remember, it's not just chirping, it's echoing across 65 million years of evolutionary survival. Can you imagine that monkeys can use money? Experiments have shown that monkeys can be trained to use money. They demonstrate an understanding of its value, make economic choices, and exhibit human-like traits such as protesting against injustice or even engaging in prostitution among male monkeys. This finding raises questions about how much our economic behavioral patterns may be common across species. Interestingly, Preikestolen in Norway is one of the most dangerous cliffs that should only be visited during the warm months. Preikestolen, also known as the Pulpit Rock, is a massive 600-meter cliff that attracts tourists with its stunning views of the Lysefjord below. However, it's important to note that the cliff is not recommended for visits in winter and spring due to hazardous icy conditions. In contrast, during the summer, its summit offers breathtaking vistas that are truly awe-inspiring. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar.